said to Abram, "Go forth from the land of your kinsfolk and from your father's house to the land I will show you. I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your great name great, so that you will be a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you, and curse those who curse you. All the communities of the earth shall find blessing in you." Abram went as the Lord directed him. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
So, it's kind of interesting that we go over this text. In one aspect, we can kind of put ourselves in Abram's position. The Lord said to Francis, "Go forth from the land of your kinsfolk and from your father's house to a land I will show you." It's a journey that we can kind of mirror on our own. We're leaving a destination, our own home, to a land that we don't know ourselves, but we're assured with Blue Bunny ice cream for one. But the thing is, how do we respond to a call? Do we approach the call like Samuel, where the call is sufficient? Do we reply, "Here I am, Lord, your servant is listening"? Or do we look at the end goal? What's in it for me? In this case, the apostles. And even then, the apostles' own mother of James and John, when Jesus asks, "What is it that you seek?" And the mom says, "For one to sit at your right and the other to sit at your left." Or do we respond in some sense, something that I myself get caught up in times is, I have to do what? What's the condition? What do I have to do? As in this case with Jeremiah, "I do not know how to speak. I am too young." So what is it about a calling, per se? I can think of my own goddaughter, Vera. I'll have her on my lap. She's giggling, she's smiling. And the minute mommy comes home, there goes the tantrums. She says, "Nope, hands are off. Mommy's home." Or when you receive a phone call from a friend you haven't talked to in a long time, you have your preoccupations and that phone rings and you see the name on your iPad. And you go, "Oh, I haven't talked to this person in a while. I wonder how they're doing." You answer the phone, you have a great conversation. What about getting your degree? You've put in the time the last 4 or 5 years, and then when you hear your name called on stage, and you shut down the stage to shake the dean's hand, you have all those in front of you, your friends and family, to witness the work you've put in. What's about a calling is that in those very moments, the attention's not on you anymore. The attention's on the other, per se. But what's interesting about God's calling, I would say the mystery, per se, is that it's not so much that it's a higher calling, but the calling itself is special. For one, we could see these in the sacraments of matrimony and holy orders. When your name's called, do you, as so-and-so, take thee to be your lawfully wedded wife? Or in holy orders, when your name is called to acknowledge that you're here, and you say present. In retrospect, the call with the child, with the phone call, with your getting your degree, the attention comes back to you because, when Vera, gets called by mommy, she comes back and plays by herself. She goes back and plays with her toys. When you have a conversation with your friend, you catch up, but the conversation ends and then you go back to your own activities for the day. In the same aspect, when you get your degree, you step into the real world, the attention's back on yourself. But this is the thing with God's call, is that from the very moment He calls you, the attention's not on yourself anymore. It doesn't go back to you. It stays on God. And this is the thing about Abraham in this case, is that from the very moment Abraham's called, God plants a seed in him. And in such a way that doesn't lie dormant, but by the very fact that God calls him by name, that seed, it germinates. As to us when we receive our call. We receive it, we discern it, we nurture it. In this case, we could say it's the seed of Abraham. It's a theme that's reoccurring in the prophetic text, in the letters of St. Paul. The seed of Abraham being the seed of the faith that continues to grow, because this calling, I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you. He doesn't explicitly say, well, in the process, your wife will be captured. You will father a son not with your own wife, but with another. You'll have a son that is estranged, and you'll have to sacrifice your own son. That's not made explicit in God's terms. So in this case, Abraham is seeing the call as being sufficient. So we return to the text, and it says, I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. So this is the other aspect of God's calling, is that the formula in this case that follows with all the prophets that are called in the Old Testament is that there is a sense of reassurance. We look to Samuel, who said, "Here I am, Lord, your faithful servant listening." At the conclusion, it says, "The Lord was with him and did not let any of his words go unfulfilled." Well, what about the apostles? Teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you, and behold, I am with you always until the end of this age. Well, what about Jeremiah? They will fight against you, but not prevail over you. For I am with you to deliver you. Oracle of the Lord. So as in this case, that from the very first instance that God calls us, again, like I said, the seed is planted. But for us as a response, as to Abraham, is that we first receive it, then we discern it, and then we cultivate it. Because you see here, we don't hear any of Abraham's dispositions, like what I said with, how do we respond to a call? At the end it says, Abraham went as the Lord directed him. No dispositions, no objections. He simply just followed. Again, later in the text here, we see the reassurance coming from God himself to Abraham. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. In the same manner, every prophet has been called in the Old Testament. There is a reassurance at the beginning of the call, and at the end, there's the blessings. So we look to Abraham as we call the father of our faith, because the reason why we don't hear any objections, the reason why he silently followed, is because he was transformed. This is what happens to the seed of Abraham, per se, is that the seed that he received transforms him, gives him the faith to endure the trials given to him, and two, the seed of the faith that will give him his descendants. When we hear God's call, it's transformative. That's the mystery that's wrapped in this grace, is that it's sufficient. And from the very moment that we're called, the very moment that we're transformed, there won't be any objections. That's why Abraham went as the Lord directed him, is because from the very moment he was called, he was transformed.